there seems to be a dispute between promoter Eddie Hearn and former WBC World Heavyweight Champion Bermane Stiverne. Hearn claims that he offered Stiverne's people £700,000, or it may have been dollars, for Stiverne to face Anthony Joshua for the IBF heavyweight title, but he says Stiverne's people turned it down and they have chosen to face Alexander Povetkin instead for substantially less money, according to Eddie Hearn. Bermane Stiverne, on the other hand, did an interview on Bayloric TV recently in which he disputed Hearn's claim. He said Hearn is a liar and that he's full of BS, basically. And he said, how could he have been offered a shot against Anthony Joshua when he is not even ranked in the IBF top 15? You have to be ranked in the IBF top 15 to be eligible for a shot at the IBF heavyweight world title. So no matter what way you look at this situation, you have to come to the conclusion that somebody is being dishonest here. Is it Hearn that's being dishonest? Is it Stiverne that's being dishonest? Or is it perhaps Stiverne's promoter, Don King, or one of King's representatives that's being dishonest? Somebody is. Yeah, there's just no way around it. As far as Hearn, he did a video on IFL TV earlier on today, actually, which I'll leave a link to in the description below, where he once again reiterates the claim that Matchroom did offer Don King. He said his dad Barry Hearn got on the phone to Don King while he was there, while Eddie Hearn was there. He said his dad Barry Hearn got on the phone to Don King and offered him £700,000 or dollars for Stiverne to face Joshua, and he says it was turned down. Was Barry Hearn lying to Eddie? Was it really Don King on the phone? Was it one of Don King's representatives? Did Don King forget about the offer? I mean, who knows what happened there? On the other side of things, is Stiverne lying? Did he turn down the money when it was offered to him by King? And to try and save face, he's, lying and making out, no, I didn't turn down no Joshua fight, blah, blah, blah. And he's using the rankings to prove the fact that he wasn't even eligible to fight for the IBF title. Is that what's going on? Or is it the third option? Is it that Don King received the offer but didn't tell Stiverne about the offer because for whatever reason, maybe he didn't want Stiverne to know the exact amount of money that was on the table? Or perhaps he just has a different plan for Stiverne's career for whatever reason. Maybe it's more advantageous for Don King to have Stiverne fight Povetkin in Russia. Maybe it will benefit Don King financially. Maybe there's some other type of deal where King's going to get more money if the fight's in Russia than it would be if he was fighting Anthony Joshua in the UK. Could it be that? Now, one thing I can tell you for certain is that promoters do turn down offers without consulting their fighters on a regular basis. In that same interview, which I'll leave a link to in the description below, of Eddie Hearn, he admits that he turned down an offer which was made for one of his fighters, Sam Eggington, to face Danny Garcia. That he actually initially turned down the offer because he thought the money was too low. And when he later on spoke to Sam Eggington about the fact that this offer had been made, Eggington said, what the hell are you doing? Are you stupid? Like, I would have taken that fight. I don't think he said, are you stupid? But he said, I would have taken that fight. What are you doing? So Eddie Hearn there admits himself that he made a decision without consulting his fighter first. Now, I'm telling you people that there are many, many promoters and what have you out there that will make those type of decisions. And unlike Eddie Hearn, they will never tell the fighter that they turned a particular offer down. They'll never tell them. In some instances, they won't even, be trying to get out of the fight or steer their fighter away from the fight, but they won't tell the fighter the exact amount of money that has been offered because they have designs to, tell the fighter it was a different amount. Let's say the amount is $700,000. They might tell the fighter, actually, it was only $500,000, and then find some sneaky way to pocket the extra $200,000 for themselves. This kind of thing goes on, people, in boxing. Unfortunately, it's that dirty and scummy of a business that kind of thing goes on all the time. Promoters and managers will find different ways to keep their fighters out of the loop, so they don't know what's going on business-wise, whereby they can pocket the extra money for themselves. And this is Don King we're talking about here. I'm not suggesting that he has done any of that, okay? I'm just talking about the different possibilities. But Don King's history is littered with unscrupulous behavior. In my time following the sport of boxing, I have never come across a promoter who is as distrusted and who has been involved in as many scandalous situations as Don King. I mean, this guy has been sued so many times, you would literally lose count. Larry Holmes was once promoted by Don King. He said that Don King has his hair the way that he does, standing up, to hide the horns on his head. Right? Don King's been threatened at gunpoint by fighters. I think it was Mike Tyson who said that Don King is just a deplorable individual. He doesn't know how to love anybody, this, that, and the other. I've made a video in the past entitled Psychopaths in Boxing, in which I speculated that in my unprofessional opinion, having studied psychology to some extent, I personally think that Don King shows all the classic character traits of a psychopath. So, given Don King's background, would it be totally out of the question that he, in fact, did receive the offer from Eddie Hearn or Barry Hearn and just hasn't told Bermane Stiverne about it? Is that possible? I personally think it's very possible that that could have happened. His motivation for doing that, we can only speculate on, all right? If he did in fact do it, I'm not saying that he did, all right? Nobody sue me. However, there is the little issue about Stiverne not being in the IBF top 15, and that kind of casts a shadow of doubt over Eddie Hearn's version of events. How could you be offering a guy a title shot when he's not in the IBF top 15? It don't make sense. Unless, of course, the IBF are so wrapped around Eddie Hearn's little finger that he knew he could magically get Stiverne a ranking if that fight got signed. And that, unfortunately, is also very possible in the murky world of boxing. Yes, it is. Fighters can pop up in high positions and rankings literally out of the blue. I mean, you look at David Hayes' rankings across most of the sanctioning bodies. He's way up there, and he ain't fought anybody to actually justify being in those positions. The same with Shannon Briggs, to be honest with you. And I like Shannon Briggs, but hey, there's no way that you can justify his rankings within the sanctioning bodies. So maybe that was the case. Maybe it's Eddie Hearn has got the IBF so wrapped around his little finger that he could get Stiverne a ranking very easily just by making a phone call to the IBF. Anyway, whatever way you look at it, somebody here is being dishonest. Drop your comments in the comment section below. Let me know how you feel about everything I talked about in this video. All right? It's your boy Hatman. I'm out.